Javihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Guru Haribo, 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 Nitai Guru Haribo. Jai Nitai Guru Pramanande, Haribo, Guru Pramanande, Haribo. Yeah, please, you are welcome to today's session of our Bhakti Shastri course. This is the last verse or the last mantra. Somebody's Bhakta Bright, you should please mute. Please mute, Bhakta Bright.
Yes, okay.
Thank you very much for being there. So, this is the last session or the last mantra of this particular session. This is the last mantra of this particular session. And this session is that to know the Supreme Lord, we must apply our heads. That means we must cultivate the knowledge of both Vidya and Avidya. But we say applying the head is not enough. We must apply our hearts. So we should know the right type of worship or upasana. Then we are here right now to conclude this particular session by saying that we must cultivate both spiritual, we must know both the absolute and the relative. That knowing the absolute alone is not enough. Knowing the relative alone will not give you any forward push. We must know both. That means we must know this material world, then we must know the spiritual world, then we'll be able to juxtapose, we'll be able to contrast them, then from there fine-tune our knowledge and our focus, to sharpen our focus so we can get the maximum. So this is where we are. First of all, we are advised to see beyond this world, that we must see immortality. That immortality is not to be found in this world. Yes. In the last two mantras, we see Sri Isopanisad condemning the worship of that which is not absolute, or the worship of the relative. So this absolute is called Sambhuti, and the relative is called Asambhuti. That was how we found it. And the absolute is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the relative is everything else that depends on the Supreme. Absolute is the Supreme independent. The relative is dependent on the absolute. That even the impersonal absolute is also condemned, even though it is part of the absolute or incomplete absolute. Usually, we hear that the worshipper of the impersonal absolute go beyond the material world and enter into the Brahmajyoti. That is what we usually hear. But here we are saying that attaining the Brahmajyoti is not accepted because the Vaishnavas, they believe in personalism, they believe in activities. To merge into the Brahmajyoti is actually very, very dangerous. Because in the Brahmajyoti, there will be no activities. You will remain there for a very long time, and you'll be deprived, you'll be denied of the opportunity to connect with Krishna. But even if somebody attains the Brahmajyoti, we say that those who attain the heavenly planets, those who attain repeated birth and death, their situation is even better, because when you attain repeated birth and death, at least you take birth here, you have opportunity to do things, to see devotees. You have opportunity to reconnect back to Krishna somehow. You will have the opportunity to take prasadam. If you are in the impersonal absolutes, in the Brahmajyoti, you cannot take prasad. No opportunity for prasad. You see, no opportunity for contacting with devotees and getting devotees association. You are just stuck there. Even though you are an active soul, you are stuck in inactivity. So it's very, it's suicide, actually, it's spiritual suicide. So it's very, very bad. Even though it's an aspect of the absolute, just entering there is so incomplete and so stagnating that it is considered lower than even taking birth among human beings, or at least when you take birth among human beings or any other species, you have the opportunity to take prasad. Just like how Upala Prabhu is taking prasad now, you can see he's gomadizing prasad like anything. You see? Can you see? Upala Prabhu is taking prasad right now to confirm this. You see? Can you see that? Yeah, if you are much stuck in the Brahmajyoti, you won't get opportunity to take prasad. You are just there as nothing, out of the light. So those who have opportunity for some activities, for some relationship, their situation is actually better. So to attain Brahmajyoti is hellish, because we will not be able to see the Lord, serve Him, or engage in any loving activities. So the Vaishnava philosophy does not support attaining the Brahmajyoti. So attaining Brahmajyoti, okay, we've already said it's considered worse, but at least as long as we take on human births, or we take on births in different species, we have the opportunity to see devotees. We have the chance to contact devotees, to eat prasadam, to act, to get the chance somehow or the other to meet Krishna. So that is how we have all met devotional service through devotees. We have met Krishna through devotees. But that is not the case in the Brahmajyoti. So now, here in mantra 14, the construction is the same with mantra 11. Mantra 13's construction is the same with mantra 9. And mantra 14's construction is the same, almost exactly the same with mantra 11. You know, where we had cultivating the process of both nescience and transcendental knowledge side by side, we enable us to transcend the influence of repeated birth and death. So here in mantra 14, we will also find the word Sambhuti. But instead of Asambhuti, the word is replaced with Vinasa. So Vinasa and Asambhuti is like the same thing. Vinasa means that which will be destroyed, that which is subject to be devastated. That which is so everything within this material world is subject to devastation. So here we learn the nature of the absolute truth in comparison to the nature of the relative world. You see, Vinas means everything in this world is liable to be vanquished. Everything in this world is subject to destruction and death. This is the meaning of Vinasa. That which is temporary and destructible. So as La Prabhupada wrote in the translation, let's see the translation. Before the translation, we should recite the mantra first. Sambhutim cha vinasam cha yastat vedo bayam saha vinasena mrityum tritva sambhutya mritam asnute. This is the sloka. Then the translation, read. Once you know perfectly well about the personality of Godhead and his transcendental name, as well as the temporary material creation, with its temporary demigods, men and animals. When one knows this, it surpasses death and the ephemeral cosmic manifestation with it. And in the eternal kingdom of God, it enjoys his eternal life of bliss and knowledge. So Prabhupada wrote in the translation that not only Krishna is the Sambhuti, but also his transcendental name, transcendental qualities, his transcendental form, his transcendental activities and pastimes. They are all part of the Supreme Absolute. Okay? Along with that, we are expected to know what is called Vinasa, or the temporary material creation, which is temporary demigods, men, and animals. See? And the result of knowing this is that we will eventually surpass death. So this is the beginning of this purport. As we go into the purport, we will see how Srila Prabhupada is talking about how to overcome death and how the materialists are going wrong, using the wrong formula, and they are always constantly frustrated. Okay? They are always constantly frustrated. So let us read the purport now. We want to attain deathlessness, but there is a process of attaining the deathlessness, as opposed to the process that the materialists are taking. The scientists want to be deathless. They want to attain deathlessness, but the process they are taking is completely wrong. And in the process of looking for deathlessness, they are consumed by death. So let us start the purport. Purport, first paragraph. Krishna by meaning.
Okay. Human civilization, by its so-called advancement of knowledge, has created many material things, including space, capsules, and atomic energy. But it has failed to create a situation in which man need not to die, take his birth again, become old, or suffer from diseases. Whenever these questions are raised by an intelligent man, before a so-called scientist, the scientist very cleverly replies that material science is progressing and that it will ultimately be possible to render man deathlessness and agelessness. Such answers by material scientists prove their gross ignorance of material nature. In material nature, everything is under the stringent laws of matter and must pass through 6 stages of existence: birth, growth, duration of life, transformation, deterioration, and death at last. Nothing that is in contact with material nature can be beyond the above mentioned 6 laws of existence, and therefore no one, whether demigod, man, animal, or tree, can survive forever here in the material world.
Read the second one also.
Okay. The duration of life may vary in different species. Lord Brahma, the chief living being within this material world, may continue his life for millions and millions of years. But with the while the minute germs may live just for some hours, that does not matter. Not one in this material world can survive eternally. Things here are born or created under certain conditions. They stay for some time, and if they have life, then they grow, create generations, then dwindle gradually, and at last are annihilated by that law. Even the Brahmas, there are millions of Brahmas in different universes, each one bigger than the last, are all liable to death, either today or tomorrow. Therefore, the whole material world is called Matya Loka, the place of
Okay.
death.
Hare Krishna. So you can see that people are looking for deathlessness. And but deathlessness does not exist in this material world. The scientists, we say they cannot see beyond their nose, because all scientific efforts is to how to create deathlessness. That's all, how to overcome death. That is all the endeavor of science is all about. But the scientists cannot see beyond their nose. They know nothing about the spiritual world. You see, all what they know is this world, and even this world, they don't know it properly. You see, but to attain deathlessness means you must know about the deathless world first. The deathless world is not controlled by the material energy, it's controlled by the spiritual energy of the Lord. And the personification of that energy is Srimati Radharani. So unless you have knowledge of what the spiritual world is, what the activities in the spiritual world are, and how to actually partake in those activities, you must have knowledge of this before you can actually go there or attain deathlessness. No means has ever succeeded here. All the efforts, all the medicines, everything you can think of, they are used, but they never produce the results. Everyone in this material world must die. So you can see, the Prabhupada is telling you that there are 6 changes, transformations in this world. Something is born. That in the material nature, everything is under the stringent laws of matter. And must pass through 6 stages of existence. Birth. Once there is birth, there must be growth. Then there is a duration of life. Then there is transformation. Then there is deterioration, and at last there is death. When we are born first, we are very fresh, young, and as we are growing, between now the age of 1 and 20, we see ourselves very fully grown, mature, all our senses, everywhere is fresh, energetic. As we go beyond to the 30s, we begin to see that some changes are taking place. And as we get to 40s, we begin to see more clearly. You see, we may not take it, but it's happening. Our vitality, everything, all our freshness is getting replaced. There are lines on the face, everything appears to be too. We buy all kinds of cosmetics to try to fight it, to pancake it. When women are going for marriage, you know what happened? They transform. They buy pancake and they are able to cover. They cover everything that is pothole. They cover it very smooth. Now you think that is a smooth person. It is called masquerading. It is cosmetic. Then after a while, when they go and take bath in the house, they wash all that one off, then they become their normal self. Understand? But as this is happening, it is imperceptible to the one that it is happening to. The person who is involved does not see. He does not see what is happening. All what he thinks is that it's the same person. But you can see, little children will remind you. Others are seeing what is happening, but only you will not see. So they will say, oh, auntie, when you are young friends, everybody every man, no man want to call the woman. And as he's growing older, the children calling her auntie, begin to call her different names. Then eventually they start calling her mama. They start calling her grandma. When she's above 50, they start calling her grandma. That's when they come to realize that actually, am I really growing? What is actually happening? And then they begin to realize. So this is how this thing happens. You see, ultimately, death is the final point. And everything in this material world will die. And time is constantly carrying out this duty. But the only thing is that its operations are imperceptible to the person in question. Its operations, death's operations are imperceptible. Time's operations are imperceptible. We don't see them, but they are happening. We don't see them with our physical eyes, but they are happening. So this is it. Even Lord Brahma, the greatest person within the universe, must pass through these changes. Even the greatest person, Lord Brahma, must pass through the changes. His duration of life is very long, but eventually he has to change his body. So there is no deathlessness in the material world. So those who are busy pursuing it, the scientists and all their endeavors, is called utopia. Utopia. Utopia means, trying to achieve that which is not possible. Endeavoring to achieve that which is not possible to achieve is called utopia. Utopia. The scientists keep on trying to make this world perfect. The material body is immortal. They want to immortalize the material body. They want to make this world perfect. But this kind of endeavor cannot make the world perfect. Neither can it create immortality here. Because this world is constituted as mortal, where everything must change. So when we know this fact very deeply, and when we have a knowledge of what is in the spiritual world, that there is something beyond this world of constant creation and destruction, then we begin to focus on it. We know the activities there, we know who controls there, what goes on there. Then we become more attracted on how to go there, because the soul is by nature deathless. But the soul as deathless soul has taken a deathful body, and is in a deathful world. So he's never satisfied until he attains that place where there is deathlessness. You see? So that is how the soul will gradually evolve to meet the devotees, and the devotees will start telling them about the world beyond, where there is deathlessness. Then their journey back home, back to Godhead, begins. You cannot attain that abode, but through surrender. You have to submit yourself to the one who is actually there in charge. Then they will now teach you. The pure devotees on behalf of the Lord will start to direct you. Then they start pointing out what is happening. But they are already experiencing it. They start narrating their experiences to you, how that world looks like, what life looks like. Then gradually they lead you out of this deathful world into that deathless world. So it's a final transition you must go through. Okay? Even Brahma goes through it. So let us read paragraph 3. Stephen Govinda.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
So, material scientists and politicians are trying to make this place deathless because they have no information of the deathless spiritual nature. This is due to their ignorance of the Vedic literature, which contains full knowledge confirmed by nature transcendental experience. Unfortunately, modern man is averse to receiving knowledge from the Vedas, Puranas, and other scriptures. From the Vishnu Purana, 6 verse 7, 61, we receive the following information. Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, possesses different energies known as para, superior, and apara, inferior. The living entity belongs to the superior energy. The material energy in which we are presently entangled is the inferior energy. The material creation is made possible by this energy, which covers the living entities with ignorance, avidya, and induces them to perform fruitive activities. Yet, there is another part of the Lord's superior energy that is different from both this material, inferior, and the living entity. The superior energy constitutes the eternal, deathless abode of the Lord. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8, verse 20.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you can see it very clearly that there are two worlds. There is a para-prakriti and there is apara-prakriti. In the apara-prakriti, which is this material world, everything is temporary, it is full of ignorance, it is inferior, and it is full of death, old age, and disease. It is called the inferior nature. But beyond this inferior nature is a superior nature, which is free from birth, free from old age, free from death, free from disease. That is the spiritual world. It is controlled by the internal potency of the Lord, and the material world is controlled by the external potency of the Lord. And the external potency of the Lord, Durga, is so stringent. It doesn't compromise in the matter of teaching and letting the conditioned souls know, reminding them that you are a soul within a temporary material body. You are not his body. You are a soul living inside his body. So your stay here is incompatible. So in this way, the material nature will be reminding each and every one through the language of birth, old age, disease, and death. But people don't take it serious. They don't even understand it. Because material nature has two influences. Maya has two influences. First, it covers you. It throws you into the material world through all kinds of allurements. You know, when you become interested in the object of the senses, it just captures you there. And when it throws you there, you want to fulfill the desires of the senses, then it covers you. Because with every endeavor for enjoyment, there is suffering that follows it. Every move, every endeavor for enjoyment in this world is followed by miseries. So they will not allow you to see the miseries. They will encourage you. The illusory energy will cover your intelligence, so you will only be seeing the enjoyments. Then at a time, the misery will arrive. When it arrives unannounced, you don't see it when it's coming. You only see it when it has arrived. That means it catch you. The mystery lure you. It lure you, material nature lure you. You come inside the cage, then it close the cage. When you close the cage, you are already caught in the mystery. That is when you come to realize that you are in the wrong place. You want to leave, but it will not allow you to leave. It will allow you to receive the reaction of all your activities. This is it. It brings you, throws you into the material energy of birth and death, and creates sensual allurements for you to follow. As you start contemplating on enjoying the senses, it takes you deeper into the inner chambers, and by the time You enter fully well. There's no, you just close the gates. No more enjoyments. All what you see is misery. Like somebody who's been dribbled into a prison. Then after you enter the prison, they close the gates. Then before you come to realize that you cannot go beyond these 4 walls. Everything you have done, you must suffer the reaction. You will not see when you are going in. You will see only when the reactions are arriving, when you are arrested, trapped. Then you want to struggle to retreat, but you will not be allowed because there is a serious mechanism, material mechanism to block you stage by stage. Anywhere you want to escape from, there is a gate man there. There's a security man there. So where are you running to? Where are you running to? With gun. You have no gun, but he has gun. He will just catch you, trap you, and send you back. Go and face the reaction. This is how material nature operates. But it is a service that material nature is doing. And it's a service to remind you that this world is not your home. It's a service, a universal service that Doga Devi is doing. And this service is like the service of the superintendent of police. The superintendent of police is not there to harass innocent citizens or law-abiding citizens. He's there to take charge of the criminals. He's only there to take charge of the criminals. So if you are not a criminal, you walk past him, you can only greet him normally as you greet anybody and go about doing your own duty, walking freely, majestically inside the police station, because you are not a criminal. You see? But the superintendent of police and all his subordinates, the whole mechanism, the whole process there that acquire big space and beautiful houses is a whole setup to deal with criminals, not with law-abiding citizens. So all what you need to do to escape that is to be law-abiding. That's all. When you are law-abiding, you have no problem. Those who are law-abiding, they will recognize the supremacy of the laws and they surrender to the laws. They want to be guided by the spiritual energy and they are guided gradually. As soon as they desire to become guided, they will immediately see all the mechanism in place. They will see the spiritual master, they will see the scripture. If from time to time the Lord himself will come, he will come and perform pastimes and attract them to him, show them about the superior nature. That first, the Lord will, when he appears, he first show them, let them realize that he's not coming from this part of the world. He's coming from the spiritual world. You have been hearing of it, but he is coming from there. He's not affected by the laws of nature. So what he does is that right from his appearance, he registered that transcendental nature, that I'm not bound by the laws of nature. The way he appeared in this world is so mystical that he appears as a full-fledged man, fully decorated. While all other people, they are born here naked, with umbilical cords and pampered, they're crying. The Lord just appeared as a flesh, mature man, fully decorated with 4 hands, carrying weapons. Have you ever seen it? This person is not affected by the laws. He's not coming from this jurisdiction. He's coming from another world, which is beyond birth and death. So right from the beginning, you register this in your mind. Then the pure devotees have also seen that world. And they are telling you about that world. They're molding their activities. They show you how to live in a way that you can go to that world. Because this world, compared to that world, this world is just a prison. So this is the whole cosmology. Beyond the material world is the spiritual world. And in the spiritual world, the highest place in the spiritual world is Goloka. And in that Goloka, there is activity. The principle of Ananda, the principle of bliss, is what controls the spiritual world. Bliss, Ananda. And the type of Ananda in Goloka is called Prema Ananda. Prema Ananda, that bliss that arises from the loving reciprocal relationship between the devotees and the Lord, between the servant and the master. There's a loving energy that comes out of that relationship. And that is called, that flavor, that mellow is called Prema Ananda. So the spiritual world is controlled by, conducted by Ananda. And the chief of the spiritual world, the peak point in the spiritual world, Goloka, is conducted by Prema Ananda. Ecstatic, devotional, loving exchanges. Understand? But below the Prema Ananda and still within the spiritual world are the gigantic, vibrant, self-effulgent spiritual universes. They are called the Vaikunthas. All are situated within the effulgence that is coming out from the body of the Lord. You know, the Lord is generating energy in form of light, and it has, there is no darkness. Therefore, there is no need for sun. There is no sun needed. Okay? No sun is needed. It's self-effulgent, illuminated. Nothing is hidden. No ignorance exists there. Everything there is knowledge, eternity, bliss, no death, no old age, no disease. It's called the world of deathlessness. So the Vaikuntha planets are situated within this realm of deathlessness, or the Paravyoma sky, the spiritual world, the spiritual. And this material world we are seeing here is like a small cloud. Actually, the material world is also situated within the Brahmajyoti, but it's like a cloud, small cloud within the Brahmajyoti. That small dark cloud within the Brahmajyoti. This is the material world. So it is conducted by the material energy, the perverted energy of the spiritual world. It's conducted by Durga. And because it's a prison, it's that little cloud is a prison within the spiritual world. This world as a whole is just a prison within the spiritual world. So when you come into the prison, you have to experience restrictions in form of birth, in form of old age, in form of disease, that you cannot stay here permanently. This is the nature of this material world. Just a cloud within the spiritual world. And the Lord enters into the cloud in this expansion. He expands himself and enters into that cloud within the spiritual world. And he just decides to rest. And he generates body. He generates water from his body. And this water covers half of each universe. Oh, no. Please, 1 second. Hare Krishna Bala.
How did you get it?
Everybody got it too. Let me tell Stephen Govinda to send you some click on how to enter there. Oh, Stephen Govinda, please send some messages to Bala on how to get. Send some messages to him, some guidelines. How you enter. So he's taking care of that. Yeah. So this is it. A little cloud within the effulgent, self-effulgent Brahmajyoti. And the Lord expands himself and enters there, deciding to perform pastimes. And from there, he generates water from his body to cover half of the universe, because the universe is situated there. The ingredients for creation are all there. So he generates, but from that, his body now, he now generates the universes. And he enters still into the universes. And as he enters into the universes, he activates the universes and generated a lotus from his navel where he's lying down. And that navel grew out until it comes to flower on top. And Lord Brahma came out from there. So in other words, that navel that is coming out from the body of the Lord, that lotus flower, that is lotus stem that is coming out of the body of the Lord, is the totality of the desires of the living entity. The totality of desire, the aggregated desires of all the living entities. That is the lotus stem. And the first living entity to come out of the lotus stem is Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma came and he performed austerity and he was given the knowledge on how to create. He put the ingredients together to form different things. And he created. So Lord Brahma is only a secondary creator. The actual creator is Mahavishnu. So like that, it's the whole spiritual world is conducted by the internal potency of the Lord. And you can see, as we read on, we are going to see how the spiritual world is 3/4 of the whole creation of the Lord, while the material world is just 1/4. So let us read on. We don't belong, the soul does not belong to this material world, but it has taken a body in the material world. So birth, old age, disease, and death are reminders to us that we are incompatible with material nature. The living entity is incompatible. So old age is not bad. Disease is not bad. Death is not bad. They are reminders. They are alarm clocks. They are alarms to tell you that, hey, you are sleeping. Condition so you are sleeping. Wake up. It is time. So the miseries will come on you as a matter of reaction. You can no longer sleep. You must wake up. Wake up. This is the alarm clock. The miseries in the material world. You want to enjoy, you have been enjoying, you think you are enjoying. A lot of suffering is waiting for you. Wake up and start practicing your spiritual life. So the miseries are reminders of our incompatibility with nature. They are alarm clocks to tell you that here is not your place. You have forgotten yourself. Wake up. The miseries are a wake-up call. That's why they will always be there. So when you know about these miseries and you simultaneously know about the spiritual world, then your journey can begin. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita, from 8:16 upwards, it is explained how Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Puna Vatino Arjuna Mamu Petyatu Kuntiya. So there are two worlds. One is the material, one is the spiritual. And their natures are different. So from 18 to 21, the Lord is explaining this. Paratasma tu Bhavonyo Vyakta Sanatana. This world is manifested and unmanifested. But beyond this manifested and unmanifested world is the spiritual world. So birth and death take place here, but in the spiritual world, there is no birth and death. Everything is eternal, based on the principle of Ananda or bliss. That the devotee is there, the Lord is there, the devotee is there, all his expansions are there, and devotional service is what conducts the relationship. Reciprocal love. Understand? That is the spiritual world, and that is where your real happiness is. Not here. Otherwise, anything you have here, are you not seeing, is taken away by death. Huh? People who have come here, they have gathered things a lot, but death will come and separate them from the things, giving us a signal that this is not your home. You are not this body. You are a soul, not of this world. That you have been imprisoned in the material. The body is your prison suite. So don't try to make it comfortable. Don't try to make elaborate arrangement here. Prepare yourself. Use your intelligence. Use your body. Use your mind to understand the higher reality. And when you understand this higher reality, side by side with understanding the mysteries of this world, then you can transcend them by the grace of the Lord. So this is the whole purport of this verse or this mantra. So it doesn't matter how long you live, but death must take place. Okay? So there is para-prakriti, there is apara-prakriti. Now, Jamasami Mary, you can
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
read paragraph 4.
All the material planets, upper, lower, and intermediate, including the Sun, Moon, and Venus, are scattered over the universe. These planets exist only during the lifetime of Brahma. Some lower planets, however, are vanquished after the end of one day of Brahma, and they are again recreated during the next daytime of Brahma. Time calculation on the upper planets is different from that of ours. One of our years is equal to 24 hours or one day and night on many of the upper planets. The four ages of Earth, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali, make a duration of 22,000 years and 5 months in terms of the time of these upper planets. Such a length of time multiplied by 1,000 is one day of Brahma, and one night of Brahma is the same. With such days and nights accumulating into months and years, Brahma's life is estimated at 100 years, and at the end of his life, the complete universal manifestation becomes vanquished.
Okay. Read on.
The living beings residing in the sun and moon, as well as those in the material local system, which includes this earth and many planets below the earth, are all merged into devastating water during the night time of Brahma. During this time, no living beings or species of life remain manifested, although spiritually they continue to exist. This non-manifested stage is called avyakta, and again, when the entire universe is vanquished at the end of Brahma's lifetime, there is an avyakta state. But beyond these two non-manifested states, there is another spiritual atmosphere or nature, where there is a great number of spiritual planets existing eternally even when all the planets within this material universe are vanquished.
Okay. So that is it. Okay, still read the next short paragraph also.
The cosmic manifestation within the jurisdiction of the various Brahmas is a display of one fourth the energy of the Lord, and this energy is called inferior. The spiritual nature beyond the jurisdiction of Brahma is called Tripada Vibhuti, three-fourths the energy of the Lord, and is the superior energy of Para Prakriti.
Okay. So you can see this material world is like that. It is controlled by the illusory energy, and the illusory energy has two parts. One is that it throws us into illusion, and the second part is that it parts our head. So don't worry, stay comfortable. This place is okay. By various kind of sensual allurements, and we start going in for sense gratification. So it throws us here, and it keeps us. That's a mechanism for keeping us within the prison yard, so that we can see. See, when we see material objects, we begin to look at it. We like it. As we like it, we begin to contemplate on it. Hey, this one can gratify the senses. So that other thing is good for sense gratification. You start following. It's a mango. It looks sweet, eh? You go, you taste it before you realize you are eating mango like anything. Everything fruit you see, you are tasting it. Before you realize you are getting deeper and deeper into the forest of material sense gratification. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has already explained it very clearly. In Bhagavad Gita 2:62 and 63. Jiyayato Visaya Pumsa, Sangas Tesupachayate, Sangat Sanjayate, Kama Kudo Vijayate, Kroda Babati Samapa Suriti, Vibrahma. Can somebody read the translation of Bhagavad Gita 2:62 and 63? Bhagavad Gita 2:62 and 63. Somebody should read the translation. While you are looking for the translation, let me continue. So, there is allurement. Material nature presents allurements, and we follow the allurements. And when following the allurements, we get more and more implicated And so many things take place in sequence. So many things take place in sequence. In the beginning, it looks so alluring, but in the end, you get misery. Like there used to be a devotee I knew who used to like sweets. A devotee not even here in Mayabo. He likes sweets. He's a devotee, not a kami. And this sweet, the way he like it, he like to eat it in multiples. If it's gulab, 5 kinds of sweet. If there are about 5 kinds of sweets, he will take 9 gulab jamun, 9 rasagula, 9 this, different varieties of sweet. Thinking is enjoying. He eats sweet in multiples of 9. And after a short time, he becomes sick. Yes, there is a reaction. So, and that is how the material nature works. It allows you to partake in sense gratification, then it flog you with the reaction. Ucheshi faith. Ucheshi faith, Amuri. You should please mute.
Yes.
Mute. You should mute your
Yes,
mic.
Prabhu.
Is that marvelous? You should mute your mic. Mute. Mute. Click that button that looks like microphone. Click on, okay, very good, you have gotten it. So, we already explained this, how the miseries act like alarm clock, to bring you to the awareness that this place is not meant for that kind of enjoyment. Yes. And the cause of all that suffering and entanglement is due to self-centeredness. We are thinking of our own self. We want to enjoy our senses, and we are ready to go beyond our quota in disobedience to the Isabasia principle. We are ready to go beyond our quota. And once you go beyond your quota, that means you are encroaching on other people's quota. At the beginning, you will encroach on it nicely, but later you have to return it because you have a quota. And everything beyond the quota. Yes, Baladila Prabhu, welcome. We are happy to see you. Once you go beyond your quota, it means you have started to encroach on other people's quota. And when you encroach on other people's quota, you will not go free. Yes, material nature will trap you imperceptibly. It will follow you imperceptibly and will trap you. You are like somebody who has entered into someone's compound and is going inside, plucking fruits, different kinds of fruits. He's thinking that the owner is not seeing. The owner is somewhere seeing you entering the compound and plucking his fruits and eating this one, eating that one, going beyond your quota. But you are thinking that he's not seeing you because you are not seeing him. But in due course of time, it will like to trap you. It will lock different gates so that when you look back, the gate is locked behind you. When you look back, the gate is locked. This is the idea of a security camera. The translation of it is security cameras. We have security cameras in our temples also. Yeah, when you are doing an activity, you think that nobody is seeing you, but the camera has captured you. There is a universal camera by Doggett, capturing everyone. Universal sees every corner of the universe. Till the camera is so mystical that it sees your mind. And it captures your mind. It captures your mind. Hare Krishna. Okay, no problem. Okay. Hare Krishna, sorry for that, please. Sorry for that. So there are universal security cameras that are capturing all our moves, both the ones in the mind, both the ones we are doing physical. At the time we think that we have gotten enough, want to go back, the gate behind us is locked. Then we start looking right and left. Then somebody will now appear. The owner will now appear from the front. And they will catch you, say, who are you? You have been doing, thinking nobody is seeing you. I've been watching you. So give me all that you have taken. So the extra quota, when you take other people's quota, you'll be trapped imperceptibly by material nature for you to release that quota. And it is that trapping that you begin to, the alarm clock begin to ring. You are receiving all kinds of miseries. Before you realize, some boil has come out from somewhere in your body. When the boil is forming, you didn't know. You only see it when it has arrived. The same way, different kinds of diseases begin to suffer from different parts of the body. That is the extra other people's quota that we have taken. Material nature will force you to return it, but this time in a painful way, in form of different kinds of diseases. Understand? So do we want to act in a way that will be forced by material nature? Won't you be proactive? Plan ahead of time, begin to do something that when material nature comes, but I belong to this, I'm a devotee, look at my activities, look at my chanting beat, look at my regulatory principles. I have a guru, I study the scripture, I've been taking advantage of other holy men. So, okay, that is that because, okay, go to that side. What are you doing here? So we must not go beyond our quota. This is the security. Our security is to remain within our quota, as Sri Isopanisad instructed us right from the beginning. Right from the beginning, Sri Isopanisad has warned us not to go beyond our quota. It is not foolishness that the lion does not eat grass. It is not foolishness that a tree produces fruits for others, not that the tree itself does not eat the fruit. It is not by accident that when a cow produces milk, itself does not drink the milk, it produces it for others. This is the principle of living within your quota. If you are living like that, others' arrangement will sustain you also automatically, just as you are sustained when you are in the womb of your mother. The design of a placenta is not made by you. It was made by a superior force. And this superior force has made that arrangement to feed you while you are in the womb. So the conscious Lord is always in charge, and he knows how to do it, to help, to track you, and can do whatever you like if it is time for you to experience the reaction of your activities. So this is for this material world. So when we go beyond our quota and collect others' quotas, we must return it in form of miseries. We must return it miserably in the form of different kinds of sufferings and diseases. So this brings about the reaction imperceptibly. Time as an anger, as a component of material nature, brings about all the reactions to our activities. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada advised us not to go for this utopia, wanting to create permanence within a temporary environment, wanting to attain deathlessness within a death-filled world. Instead, we should learn the principle of employing everything, the principle of Nirbanda Krishna Sambandhi, the principle of dovetailing everything in the service of the Lord, and mystically translocate ourselves from this material world to the spiritual world. Mystically translocate ourselves. And this is the process of devotional service. Devotional service begins with recognizing the spiritual world, that there's somewhere beyond the material world, and that we are souls, and the soul actually belongs to death because the soul is by nature deathless. And the process of attaining our original deathlessness is to surrender to the Supreme Personality of God and act according to His direction. Every other way we continue to fail. It has been failing the scientists since the beginning. And in the attempt to overcome death and create deathlessness here and immortality here, they themselves they are overtaken by death. To let you know that this is utopia. Utopia. So let us see beyond, have this knowledge, and try to see how to elevate ourselves. Now we should read about the Ekapad. Okay, it has been read already that this material world is just one quarter of the total creation of the Lord. 3/4 exists in the spiritual world. This 1/4 is called Ekapad Vibhuti, while the 3/4 is called Tripad Vibhuti. 3/4 is in the spiritual world. In fact, our particular universe is considered so small, this universe, that we're so gigantic, so big. We look at the sky, we can't see anywhere. We cannot see, if you are in Ghana, you cannot see Nigeria physically. And what to talk of seeing America or India from Nigeria. It's so big for us. Where this big universe we are seeing is just like a mustard seed. It's one universe. We are within one universe. And this one universe is like one mustard seed. Mustard seed is very small within a big bag of mustard seeds. That means there are innumerable universes. Understand? There are innumerable universes. And these innumerable universes, each of them have controllers. That our tendency to control and lord over and become like God. Those who have the greatest controlling desires, they are given universal position as Lord Brahma, the Lord of one universe. And this Brahma, this particular, our planet, our universe, is considered one of the smallest because it's the smallest Brahma that has only 4 heads. The heads are according to the responsibilities and the magnitude of the universe. Our own universe only had a Brahma with 4 heads. So once this Brahma was thinking that he's so great, big a controller, so he wanted to go and meet the Lord and complain about certain things. So he went to Dwarka to meet Krishna. And Krishna says, so what are you saying? Which of the Brahmas are you? Which Brahma are you? Krishna asked him. Brahma was shocked. He said, is there any other Brahma beside me? I am Lord Brahma. Of course, the 4-headed Lord Brahma of this universe. I am Lord Brahma. Why are you asking whether which Brahma I am? So the Lord said, okay, wait a minute. Then the Lord just made like this, snap his finger. And then Brahmas started, different Brahmas from different universes started arriving. The Lord called the different Brahmas. And there were 10-headed Brahmas, 20-headed Brahmas, 40-headed Brahmas, 80-headed Brahmas, 100-headed Brahmas, 1,000-headed Brahmas, 5,000-headed Brahmas. This Brahma was like an ant in the midst of these other Brahmas. Then after that, after I see them, the Lord tell them to go back. All of them were coming offering obeisances. And what do you want to Say, I just wanted to see you. You can go back. Then when they went back, this Brahman come to realize how insignificant he is. But he's the biggest man among all the living entities in this particular universe. Yet is as insignificant. So you can imagine the controlling power of the Lord. There are those who can control big companies. There are those who can control a family. There are those who cannot even control their senses. So that desire to control and lord over, that is the basic principle that is keeping us within this material world. That desire to lord over is what is keeping us within this material world. Okay? Now, let's continue the reading. We are not surprised that today our number is so small also, because as we are saying, we are evolving. And one thing that is constant in this world is change. And that's what we are also reading and talking about. Change is constant. There is birth, there is old age, there are 6 kinds of changes that occurs to the body. So it is constant, it is normal. As the environment is changing dynamically, the strategies for success are also changing dynamically. And say it is only those who cannot adapt to the changes, those who cannot adapt to the changes, they break. And those who succeed are those who can adapt to the changes. So the technological environment is changing also. And now we are in different locations, but we are in a classroom in the same place. There's a virtual classroom, and we are seeing ourselves, we are talking, and we are hearing ourselves. So we have gotten our own website, and it has been fully paid for 1 year. And we must start to use the website. So rather than trying to resist change, we should learn to adapt. So today is the first day we are using this website. That is why we see many people find it difficult to come in. But before the next class, they should go and learn how to come in. All those who have been able to come in should help to educate those who are unable to come in on how to come in. So this is becoming your brother's keeper. But we cannot remain down because of those who are not ready to adapt. Instead, we are pulling them. They can adapt and come on board. So we are not disappointed by the number of attendants. Instead, we are happy that this number is able to make it. Those who came before and they have left. So those ones, they should plan better next time. If it is data problem, they should get enough data before coming. Because coming into class and just living like that, it disconnects you from getting the mercy and the message. So that is it. Okay. Baladila Prabhu, if your network is good, you can read. Or do you really know where we are? Because you came late. Okay, let somebody else read. Someone who knows where we are, so read. Sharp, sharp.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The predominant person in the spiritual nature in the Lord Sri Krishna, he approached only by unqualified devotional service and not by anything else, such as the process of jhana, philosopher, and yoga. Mysticism much less than of karma, fruitive work, and karmas. All fruitive workers can elevate themselves to the Sovanga Loka planet, Sugaluga planet, including the suns, the moons, Jonanit and Jojit, can reach still higher planets, such as a Brahma Loka, and becoming still more qualified by devotional service. They are allowed to enter into the spiritual nature, either in the illuminating cosmic atmosphere of the spiritual sky, the Brahman, or on the planet, according to qualification. It is certain, however, that no one can enter into the spiritual planet called Venkuha without being training in devotional service. On the material planet, everyone from Brahma down to the ants is trying to lord it over material nature, and this is called the material disease. As long as this material disease continue, the living entity has to undergo the process of changing bodies, whether in the form of a demigod, a man, or an animal. And ultimately, he has to endure the unmanifested condition during the two kinds of devastation, the night of Brahma and at the end of Brahman life. If we want to cease the process of repeating birth and death and the concomitant factors of old age and disease, then we must try to enter into the spiritual planet. And the Lord Krishna, by his plenary expansion, is the dominating figure on each and every one of them. No one.
Okay, stop first. So we have gotten this. The first of the paragraphs is that the superiority of Bhakti as a process is established over other processes. Karmas, Jnana, and all other processes of meditation and spiritual practices. Regulated sense gratification, meditation, all that. They can take you to somewhere within these planets, but they cannot easily take you beyond the planets. It is only through devotional service that we can go beyond this planet and enter into the world of deathlessness. Only through devotional service we can translocate ourselves from the deathful world into the deathless world. Okay? And the type of devastations that are there in the world, two types. One is the temporary devastation at the end of Brahma's day. Then there is total devastation, which is towards the end of Brahma's life. So these two types of devastations are there, but all are taking place within the material world. That in the spiritual world, there is no creation and destruction. The spiritual world is eternally existent. There is no old age, no disease, no death. That if we want to cease the process of repeated birth and death and the concomitant factors of old age, disease, and so on, then we must try to enter into the spiritual planets. And Lord Krishna, by his plenary expansion, is the dominating figure. Therefore, to enter there, we have to practice devotional service. There is only one process of transferring ourselves to recognize the Lord, to get guidance from the devotees of the Lord who have experienced that planet and who are here to teach us and to change all our consciousness from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. That is when we can go. And how do we do? We do this by the principle of surrender. Surrender is the principle. And there are 6 components of surrender, as we said. That the first component of surrender is to avoid all those things that are unfavorable to devotional service. The second component is to accept all those things that are favorable to the execution of devotional service. And other components, accepting the Lord as the Lord and Master, developing humility, and finally surrendering ourselves fully. These are the components of surrender, following which will be gradually elevated and be eventually transferred into the spiritual world. We get liberated from material existence. Okay, yes. Can somebody, Ucheshi Faith, can you read the next paragraph? Don't waste our time. If it's not there, then somebody else will read. Jamasami Ugo. Second Jamasami, please read.
No one can dominate Krishna. It is the conditioned soul who tries to dominate material nature and is instead subjected to the law of material nature and the sufferings of repeated birth and death. The Lord comes here to reestablish the principles of religion, and the basic principle is the development of an attitude of surrender to Him. This is the Lord's last instruction in the Bhagavad Gita 1866. Srava Dharman Parijya Mam Ekam Saranam Vraja. Give up all other processes and just surrender unto me alone. Unfortunately, foolish men have misinterpreted this prime teaching and misled the masses of people in diverse ways. People have been urged to open hospitals, but not to educate themselves to enter into the spiritual kingdom by devotional service. They have been taught to take interest only in temporary relief work, which can never bring real happiness to the living entity. They start varieties of public and semi-governmental institutions to tackle the devastating power of nature, but they don't know how to pacify insurmountable nature. Many men are advertised as great scholars of the Bhagavad Gita, but they overlook the Gita's message, by which material nature can be pacified. Powerful nature can be pacified only by the awakening of God consciousness, as clearly pointed out in the Bhagavad Gita 7:14.
Thank you very much. That has already been explained. And the whole topic is about this, and we have been explaining from the beginning to now. Now, Stephen Adaman, you can read the next paragraph.
Okay, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
In this mantra, Sri Isopanisad teaches that one must perfectly know both Sambhuti, the personality of Godhead, and Vinasa, the temporary material manifestation, side by side. By knowing the material manifestation alone, one cannot be saved. For in the course of nature, there is devastation at every moment. Ahyani, Ahani, Bhutani, Gachavintiha, Yam. Hey.
Carry on, try.
Okay. Yamaliayam. Okay. Yamaliam. Okay. Nor can one be saved from these devastation by the opening of hospitals. One can be saved only by complete knowledge of the eternal life of bliss and awareness. The whole Vedic scheme is meant to educate men in this art of attaining eternal life. People are often misguided by temporary attractive things based on sense gratification. But service rendered to the senses, service rendered to the sense object is both misleading and degrading. We must therefore save ourselves and fellow man in the right way. There is no question of liking or disliking the truth. It is there. If we want to be saved from repeated birth and death, we must take to the devotional service of the Lord. There can be no compromise, for this is a matter of necessity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So it is very clear and self-explanatory. So there is no other process than devotional service, as we have seen. And we should just learn that science and take advantage of it. This is a summary. Mantra 14. First, we said mantra 12 and 13 explain that one who conducts worship of the improper object or worship of the proper with improper conception will not achieve spiritual emancipation. Mantra 14 states that one must know the spiritual and material energies properly in their respective positions in order to achieve liberation. So this is the sloka. Sambutim cha vinasam cha yastad vedo bayam saha vinasena amrityum tiritwa sambutya amrita asnote. So here we see the first word is sambuti, and the first word in the third line is vinasena. In mantra 11, this word, first word in the third line is asambuti. Sambuti and asambuti. But asambuti is now replaced with vinasena. But it's the same thing. Vinasena means this material world is temporary. Everything within it is subject to destruction. Therefore, it is not desirable. We should try to see beyond that this world is the world of deathlessness, and to solve the problem of deathlessness, we must cultivate knowledge of the deathless world. And there is a wrong attempt to this. What is the wrong attempt? Finding deathlessness in the material world is the wrong attempt. And who is doing that? Who is trying to do that? The material scientists are trying to find deathlessness in this material world, and they are spending a lot of everybody's money and always giving positive check. Positive check is a check you give when you want to buy something expensive, but you don't have the cash now. That you are hoping that by the end of the month or in the short time, you are going to have cash. So based on that hope, you carry the thing and you give a positive check. So when the scientists are challenged, why they have not created deathlessness since up to now, they will say, oh, very soon, very soon. That very soon is the positive check. They have been giving us positive checks since the beginning, up to today. They are giving positive check. Many have died giving the positive check, yet we are following them like mumu, like donkeys. Donkeys that are following their masters who are carrying some grass in their hand. And also, the scientists they are doing this by the advancement of knowledge. But whatever advancement they are having, whatever they are creating in the process is bringing more miseries. That's why suicide rate is highest in America, where the scientists have put all their facilities in use, the most advanced material countries. they are having the highest rate of frustration and therefore the highest rate of suicide. That by some social workers also, apart from the scientists, there are some social workers who want to do philanthropic activities. They arrange for some clothing and some food for some suffering people. They're thinking they can help to alleviate. But this is like trying to save the dress of a drowning man to the neglect of the person himself. You just catch the dress and drag it out. You save the dress, but the person is gone. So our attempt to be wholesome, we should try to save the soul by giving transcendental knowledge. Why do they attempt in this way? It's because of ignorance of their higher nature. And they do not want to submit themselves to hear from the Vedas that are coming directly from the spiritual world, from the Lord himself. Because only the Lord knows these things. Only him knows. And only him knows how to help. But they don't want to listen, submit themselves. They don't want to surrender. So they are depending on their mind and intelligence to speculate. So no information of deathlessness in the spiritual world is known to them. They don't even know about the spiritual world. What to talk of the deathlessness that is available there. Why do these attempts fail? These attempts fail because everyone is under the stringent laws of material nature. And death is the last stage in the 6 stages of change a living entity goes through. Even Brahma, Lord Brahma, has to die. So a place of death, this material world is a place of death called Matya Loka. In the Gita, it is Dukalayam Asaswatam. It's temporary and it's full of miseries. So that is it. How to enter into the kingdom of God, the eternal world. The Vedas speak about the spiritual worlds. Who resides there? The predominating supreme person is the supreme personality of God, Lord Sri Krishna. How to approach that world? Only by unalloyed devotional service or bhakti, not by any other process of Gyan, mystic yoga, or anything. The Kamis can attain Swagaloka, the Gyanis can attain Machaloka or Brahmaloka, but they can never enter into the spiritual world. The qualification to enter into the spiritual world is to be trained in devotional service. And this is the training we are also doing. We are trying to help ourselves to come on track so that we can help translocate ourselves, into the deathless world through the boat of devotional service. Then we can enter there and get conducted by the Ananda principle of the Lord. In Swagaloka and Machaloka, you can get the Sat-Sit principles, but you cannot get the Ananda principle there because the Ananda principle is born out of activities, reciprocal devotional activities, which are only possible in the process of bhakti. And that process that we belong. So thank you very much for your participation. We are very grateful. And we hope to see you tomorrow. And on this note, we will say again, henceforth we'll be passing through this link. And every time we send a different link, you have to pass through here before you can. Once you pass through here, you join. But as Kavikanapra was saying, as soon as possible, we are going to get our app. So you just click on the app and you are there. It will be easier. So help others to come on board tomorrow. Thank you and see you. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki. Yeah. ISKCON founder Charya like AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Jai. We thank you very much, Stephen Adaman, Dr. Bright, Krishna Bhaimini Devidasi, Benjamin Ampa of Balalila Prabhu, Jamasami Ugo, Wikmo Jamasami Mary, Ucheshi Faith. Thank you very much for your participation. You are winners.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. You are evolved souls and you will help others evolve. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
There with us, so we are using our new technology. We don't mean to undermine anybody, but this is the situation. We are using our new technology We have paid for it. We must use it. We must learn how to adapt to these changes. Myself, I'm still learning how to adapt. See, Kabikanapura putting me through. So we are all learning how to adapt so that we can upgrade, we can evolve together. So thank you very much and see you tomorrow. It's Confounder Charles Bhakti Shastri Jai.